Hello, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Stanonis with your forecast. A little calm before the storm is what it's looking like. We have sunshine for the rest of today, a mix of clouds and sunshine into early evening. Then we watch a system bringing rain and warmer air for Tuesday afternoon into the night. Also more rain with that and gusty winds too on Wednesday. Rain showers, then colder air wraps around and comes on in for Wednesday night and into Thursday. So closer shot, this is the time frame we're looking at for potentially some active weather. Good chance of it. We have weather impact alerts starting Wednesday night for lake effect, rain snow mix first for the evening, changing over to snow as we head through Wednesday night. The band shifts southward by Thursday, probably during the morning, and then it should stay mainly east of the lakes Thursday into Friday. We're continuing to monitor this closely. Right now, we do have that winter storm watch in effect for southern Erie County, Wyoming, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus. That's the best placement for most of this lake effect snow expected in excess of probably about half a foot of snow plus. So that's Wednesday evening through Friday evening for these areas south of Buffalo, where we could see some accumulations of snow. So you can see that weather impact alert Wednesday night through Friday for that colder air coming in. Lake effect snow first starting that more of a wintry mix northeast of the lakes and then shifting east and southeast of the lakes. Also gusty winds 40 to 50 miles per hour, further reducing visibilities. Slower travel for Thanksgiving for parts of our area. So heads up on that as we have cold air coming in for a late week. Tonight, quiet. Low temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, clouds increasing. 7-day forecast will have the rain Tuesday, rain and wind Wednesday, changing over to that snow Wednesday night, Thursday, weather impact alert, and into Friday south.
It's that time of year. Winter brings the chance for snow, ice, freezing rain, and dangerous storms. It can lead to icy roads, downed trees, power outages, and more. Hello, I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Thanks for joining us for this weather impact special. Today, we'll go through what you need to know to keep you, your family, and your home protected this winter. Over the next half hour, we will take a look at the outlook for the season and what temperatures and snow chances will look like across the country. We've got expert advice on the do's and don'ts of driving in snow, heating your home, and keeping your plants and pets safe. And later, we put some viral social media claims to the test. Can you use things like vinegar or sandwich bags to de-ice your car? We've got those stories and much more all up ahead. Let's start with some steps that you can take whenever winter weather hits your neighborhood. Experts recommend you create an emergency kit to have at home. It should include bottled water, food, and batteries. It's recommended you have a similar kit for your car. Also, make sure you have alternate heat and power sources, since accumulating ice or freezing weather can bring power outages. Megan Bragg is verifying some things to know to stay warm in cold temperatures.
Well, 'tis the season for that on again, off again heat as we deal with some cold days, but also some mild days. With these constant changing temperatures, there are some things you should be doing to keep your house and car going. So let's verify. Our source is David Undercuffler, editor-in-chief at Autolist, Firestone Complete Auto Care, our WCNC Weather Impact Team, and the Charlotte Fire Department. The first question, should you check your tire pressure when there's a cold snap?
You should definitely at least check your tire pressure when it gets cold outside. The general rule of thumb is that for every 10 degrees that the temperature drops, your tires lose about 1 psi.
Firestone Complete Auto Care says psi means pounds per square inch. They say low tire pressure could lead to increased stopping time and you could skid more easily on wet pavement. So we can verify that yes, you should check your tire pressure when there's a cold snap. The next question, should you switch your fan setting to clockwise in the winter? Our WCNC Weather Impact Team explains that setting it clockwise helps push warm air trapped up high along the walls and eventually down to the floor. So we can verify that yes, you should switch your fan setting to clockwise in the winter. And finally, can you leave your space heater on when you go to bed? The Charlotte Fire Department says space heaters are one of the leading causes of house fires, especially when unattended. They say keep your heaters at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn, like bedding, furniture, and curtains. Also, turn them off if you leave the room or are going to bed. So we can verify that no, you should not leave your space heater on when you go to bed. Make sure to turn it off if it's unattended. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
are space heater tips that you may not think of. Put it on a level surface so it can't be knocked over. If you can, use a heater with safety features like an automatic shutoff or tip-over switch. Keep children and pets away from the space heater and always plug it directly into a wall outlet. Forecasters say this will be a weak La Niña winter, but what does that mean and what can we expect to see across the country? Meteorologist Julie Martin has your weather outlook.
The Pacific Ocean waters actually play a big role in winter weather in the U.S. A La Niña indicating cooler than average Pacific waters, and El Nino indicating warmer than normal Pacific waters. Both influence the climate in different ways. With an El Nino, a Pacific or southerly jet usually develops, and that brings the cooler and wetter climate pattern to the southern portions of the U.S. and the southeast, and then typically, the warmer pattern exists here as we head into the upper Midwest, upper plains, drier as well. Now, with the La Niña, it's a bit different. The polar jet is pushed farther north. That makes way for a lot of colder air to be coming into the area and wetter weather. So typically the northern half of the U.S. stays much cooler and wetter, whereas the southern half of the U.S. stays much drier and warmer. Now this winter we are in a weak La Niña, so something like this could play out over the next 3 months where we have these shots of cold air coming in from Canada in this zone. We have the wetter weather from the northeast into the Midwest. Also the Pacific Northwest could be wetter, and then drier and warmer across the southern half of the U.S. Those conditions could be pretty typical of a La Niña winter, albeit a weak one. So it gives us some idea of what we can look for. The winter temperature outlook looks like this then, that cooler air really confined here to the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the Pacific Northwest, all likely going to stay below average. Pretty typical weather in the middle there, even for a place like Denver that really likes the snow, and then likely warmer than average as we head into the southwestern U.S. over toward the southeast and even up into portions of the northeast. Again, all just ideas. Winter precip outlook also could play out like this, where we have much wetter and, mind you, colder air coming into the northern half of the U.S., hence more snow in a place like Chicago or, say, Montana, whereas we could likely see much drier air here and not much snow at all in some of these southerly states that typically get some snowfall. That would include portions of the mid-Atlantic also at this point. Now, keep in mind the Climate Prediction Center has issued this as a weak La Niña, and it does appear to turn a little more neutral as we get into the middle of winter. So stay tuned, but right now this is just a big outlook and an idea of what we might expect, and that would include more snow in the northern U.S.
Let's break down some other common terms you hear this time of year. Winter weather advisory, winter storm watch, and winter storm warning. Winter weather advisories are issued when light amounts of snow or wintry precipitation are expected, but could cause slick travel. A winter storm watch is issued a couple of days out when it looks like the pieces are coming together for a winter storm, heavy snow, ice, or even a blizzard. It means you should pay close attention to forecast updates. Winter storm warnings are issued when there's growing confidence in a storm hitting, usually for 6 inches or more of snow or significant ice. It means there will likely be a big impact on travel. You either love snow or hate it. Regardless of how you feel, there's no denying how beautiful, calm, and peaceful the snow can often make cities seem. These winter wonderland views would not be possible without millions of snowflakes that each have their own unique makeup. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti looks at how they form.
We know snow forms when you have moisture at freezing temperatures, but let's go beyond that. Within every snowball, you have snowflakes, and these are tiny, tiny, fascinating specimens.
Take a closer look at the snow falling around you. Individual snowflakes reveal a clear shape created in special circumstances.
To get the growth of a snowflake, you need to have nucleation.
That's a fancy way of saying it's crystal formation, says Northwest Avalanche Center meteorologist Robert Hahn. Snowflakes form when water droplets attach to particles in the sky, like dust or pollen, creating a six-sided shape. They then fall, dropping through different types of air, giving them each a unique appearance.
No two snowflakes have the exact same journey through the various temperature and pressure regimes.
For that reason, no two snowflakes look the same, just like a thumbprint. The atmosphere they fall through changes the shape they become.
Is it forming lengthy hexagonal columns, or is it forming more flattened plates?
Warmer temperatures tend to lead to longer shapes, like a needle. Colder temperatures create flat, plate-like snowflakes. Robert says the type of snowflake can even impact avalanche risk. If the snowflakes are too cold and fall too fast, they don't bond together quickly enough, creating a weak layer of snow, and that is one of the factors that can lead to an avalanche.
So the next time you see snowfall, take a closer look. See if you can make out the 6 sides of a tiny crystal and know that the snowflake you're holding is unlike any other out there.
More coverage is up ahead as drivers brace for winter weather. We will look at the do's and don'ts for driving safely in the snow. Plus, can things like vinegar, sandwich bags, and rubbing alcohol help de-ice your car's windshield? We are putting some viral social media hacks to the test. Driving during the winter can be tricky. Snow or ice can make the roads tough to navigate. Our reporters in Virginia and Ohio have the do's and the don'ts for driving in the snow and ways to prep your car ahead of the next storm.
The best advice for winter weather driving? Just don't do it. Stay at home if you can. If you can't avoid it, here's what you need to know. Our sources are the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, AAA, and Kelley Blue Book. So these are the top 3 things that you should do. First, keep your distance from other cars on the road. Second, never slam on the gas or the brake pedal, and get your car prepared for whatever happens. That means filling up on gas, checking your tire pressure and tread, and always keep an emergency kit handy. Our sources also weighed in on some common questions around snow driving. First up, should you speed up before you get to a hill? AAA says hitting the gas hard could make your wheels spin and reduce your control over the car. Instead, try and get a little inertia going before you reach the hill and let that carry you up. Next, can children's winter coats make your car seat less safe? The NHTSA says that's true. Puffy coats can lead to loose-fitting harnesses. Instead, dress your child in thinner layers and put blankets or coats on after the harness is secured. And this one is a very common misconception. So Kelley Blue Book says you should actually not put your windshield wipers up before the snow comes. That can damage the springs that keep the wipers flush with the glass. But even if you follow all this advice, you still might find your car slipping on ice. So listen up to this. If you start skidding, take your foot off the gas pedal. Fight that urge to just slam on the brakes and instead tap the brake pedal lightly. And if your car slips to one side or the other, steer your wheel in that direction. All this will help you regain traction and self-correct out of the skid. With your Verify, I'm Kyle Johnson.
Any extreme weather could have a negative effect on your car. Today I spoke to Luke's Auto, who told me there are a few things that you can do to make sure your car runs smoothly in the cold weather.
This is actually showing a weak battery. It should not drop below 10 volts.
It's a busy time for auto shops across central Ohio. Luke Walker, owner of Luke's Auto, says check your tires, fluids, and battery before hitting the road.
Cold weather and really temperature extremes in either direction can often tend to make something that's on the verge of breaking go ahead and break.
This week, they've seen a lot of people for battery issues, noise complaints, and no heat. Sean Knox with Luke's Auto says if you have an electric vehicle, know that the battery might not last in this weather.
Especially EV cars, they won't hold a charge nowhere near as long as a normal car. So a lot of the EV customers we have also notice a reduction in how far they can get before they have to charge their car.
Knox says it's not a bad idea to wait for your car to heat up before driving it. He says don't turn on your wiper blades until they are defrosted. Then he recommends getting your antifreeze checked.
In colder temperatures, if the freeze protection is not right, it could cause overheating issues or actually freeze up and crack the engine block or the radiator. It'd be bad news real quick if it's not correct.
And when the cold weather ends, wash your car.
All the stuff that gets sprayed on the road is highly corrosive. And with us living in Ohio, we see a lot of rusty cars, which could help out just rinse them off, going through the car wash.
And Luke's Auto says there are a couple things you can keep in your car, like this emergency safety kit and a brush, just in case you're in an emergency, then you're prepared for it. Reporting in Columbus, Tara Jabor, 10 TV News.
The National Weather Service says that car emergency kit should include jumper cables, a first aid kit, charger, a flashlight, flares, snacks, and water. And don't forget items to stay warm, like boots, mittens, hats, and a blanket, as well as a snow shovel. Finally, you want to make sure you keep your gas tank full just in case you're stuck on the road longer than you planned. A ton of videos usually pop up on social media this time of year showing hacks to de-ice your car's windshield or clear the snow. And Aaron Sullivan with our station in Michigan put some of those viral claims to the test to see if they really work.
Waking up and scraping ice and snow off your car early in the morning is not an ideal way to start the day. So what if it could be made easier? Social media life hacks show that using everyday household items can help. Some users say you can use items you already have at home, like vinegar, sandwich bags, and rubbing alcohol. So I put some to the test on one of our station cars. I first tested a method using a sandwich bag filled with warm tap water. This hack is for defrosting your car windshield in the morning. I found that the window was so frozen solid that this didn't really work, but I'm sure it could work if there's no ice on your car. Next, if you're running late and need your windshield defrosted quickly, rubbing alcohol can help. I did notice this helped melt the ice just a little bit, but I can't say that this life hack was life-changing. I also attempted to create a DIY de-icer in a spray bottle using 3 parts vinegar to 1 part water. This did help with scraping ice off of the car's windshield, but the smell was extremely overpowering, and I do warn you, if you try this at home, you might inhale some of that vinegar. So I do not recommend. And if you experience icy doors and handles, I know I do in the morning, well, you can put WD-40 on the rubber edges around your door. This is going to help prevent your door from freezing shut. And for door handles, hand sanitizer can help de-ice those handles early in the morning when they're frozen shut. And lastly, put your visors down inside your car to trap warm air when defrosting your car towards your windshield. This is going to help quicken the defrosting up. Overall, I would say these life hacks didn't necessarily make my life easier, but if you want to try it at home, good luck. I hope it works out for you.
Another hack that always pops up, especially in Texas, using a Whataburger cup to protect exposed pipes or outdoor faucets in freezing temperatures. And this is actually true. Experts say any styrofoam cup can work if you don't have a faucet cover. Styrofoam is a great insulator. It might not work as well as the insulated covers, but can come handy in a pinch. No one wants a mess in their home, so make sure your pipes are protected. Keep your kitchen and bathroom cabinet doors open to allow some warm air to circulate around the plumbing. Let your faucets drip in hot and cold to avoid frozen pipes. And disconnect all hoses and cover your outside faucets. Frigid winter temperatures can mean higher energy prices, and coming up, some tips to help warm up your home and save you some cash. As we head to break, here's Julie Martin with some winter weather facts.
Winter weather can be confusing, and if you've ever wondered what is that falling from the sky, here's a quick explainer. Grapple, really just a soft ice pellet. Hail, of course, more solid in nature, and that's ice. Sleet, we like to say, has a beat, and that actually bounces off pretty much everything it hits, including the ground. Ice is nothing to play around with, of course. We don't want to travel when there are icy conditions. A 1/4 inch or less, avoid any travel. We can see the ice on the trees there. A 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, definitely looking at broken tree limbs and maybe some power outages. And if it's a 1/2 inch or more of ice, stay off of the roads altogether. Big impacts will be felt.
Power outages can often happen during winter storms. Walker Lawson has some advice for staying safe when your power goes out.
There are ways you can stay safe. The Red Cross of South Carolina recommends having a kit before the first flakes fall.
If you lose power, you lose water. So make sure you have, water for your family members. We always like to say at least 3 days worth. Hopefully power wouldn't be out that long, but we never know.
Rebecca Jordan, executive director for the Red Cross of South Carolina, says using batteries is better for lighting than candles and to keep blankets to stay warm.
A lot of home fires in South Carolina, on average 6 a day. So we don't want people to use candles. I mean, even without losing power, we sometimes see people use space heaters and maybe have them too close to curtains or a sofa where then they ignite. So we do see fires, but a lot of fires start in the kitchen. So.
That's when Columbia Fire has to respond. Mike DeSuma, public information officer with Columbia Fire, says during these events, they respond most to accidents on the roadways, but there's always a risk for fires.
If you haven't, used your fireplace in a while, during a storm event is not really the time to just fire it up and see what happens. You got to make sure your fireplace is good to burn. It's really good if you've burned it in already and know it's safe to go. Definitely making sure you have a screen in front of your fireplace to prevent any embers from flying out there and catching stuff on fire.
DeSuma advises people to have a friend or family's place to go if it's cold and you lose power.
Window treatments can help save you money in your heating costs this winter. The Energy Department estimates in an average home, 1/3 of heat is lost through the windows. You can prevent some of that from happening by keeping the drapes or shades closed at night. That can actually act as an extra layer of insulation between your home and the windows. This helps keep up to 10% more heat inside your home, which can lower your energy bill. And don't forget about your plants in the winter. Experts say 24 hours before a big freeze, water your plants deeply, soaking them all the way down to the root. That will help insulate vegetables, herbs, and flowers. You can also get covers to protect your plants. One expert says he uses Christmas lights.
Just covering a plant when it goes down below freezing and stays below freezing for 2 days, that is a penetrating cold, and a cover oftentimes is not enough. I figured out that if you put Christmas lights around a plant, especially at the soil, and plug them in, they're heaters. It's an indoor-outdoor heater.
You can also try adding mulch to any landscaping beds and on top of soil for newly planted shrubs and trees. That will also help insulate plants in the freezing weather. And just like people and plants, extreme cold can also be harmful to your pets. Experts say a good rule of thumb is if you're cold outside, your animals will be too.
If you have a very young or very old animal, they're even more susceptible to the cold. So if pets do have to be outside, make sure that they're cuddly and safe and warm. There are ways to weatherproof things for animals that maybe, you have a community cat you're caring for. Lots of great stuff you can do there. But for your pets, just please bring them inside. It is far too cold. Additionally, cats and small mammals might seek shelter near or under your car. So honk the horn, tap on that top of the car, get them out of there. Wipe your pet's paws off if you have salt or other chemicals on the pavement, and just use your best judgment.
Veterinarians and other experts also recommend snow boots for your dogs to protect their paws. It can also help them keep safe from the ice when it melts, which can be toxic for pets, and prevent them from getting frostbite. Yes, dogs can get frostbite too if the temperature is below 32 degrees. The American Kennel Club says dogs' tails, ears, nose, and paws are more susceptible. Well, that does it for us today on this Weather Impact Special. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Thanks so much for watching, and stay safe and warm this winter.